Hello everyone, welcome back to EduTap and welcome to the RBI revision session for the January 2023. So in today's session, we are going to revise all the important notifications, press releases, circulars and reports that has been released by the RBI and that has been discussed in the January 2023 Finance Current Affairs sessions. So we have discussed the report on trend and progress, we have discussed the FSR, we have discussed the annual report on the Ombudsman scheme, we have discussed the Utkarsh 2.0 as well as we have discussed many of the important reports and the notifications of the RBI. So in today's session, let's revise it all. And good morning, Shri. So it is so good to see you all. And today, let's start with the revision. Let's see that how much you remember. And we have done the most important reports, the most important sessions have been taken in this January 2023 month. That is very important for the RBI exam. Okay. So let's discuss and let's revise. And today, there will be the 100% coverage of the revision that we will do of all the reports and all the notifications that we have done in the January 2023. So let's start with it. Good morning Vishal, good morning Rishabh. So let's start with it, and there is a big announcement from EduTap that we have brought for you the comprehensive guide for RBI, NABARD and SEBI. So through a single guidebook you can get all the information. Okay, if you want to know about the examination, that what is the pattern for the exam, what are the previous year cutoff for the exam, what is the syllabus for the exam, all of these information can be provided through a single guidebook, and you do not have to visit different links, you do not have to visit different websites. Even if you want to know about the preparation, what should be the strategy for the preparation, what should be the sources for the preparation, through this single guidebook you can get all the common queries answered. Okay, and this is absolutely free of cost, so you can download this easily the link is provided in the description box below. So good morning Anmol and hello Sorish. So it is so good to see you all. So now this is the first question that you have to answer, and this is from Utkarsh 2.0. Okay, so here recently the Reserve Bank of India's medium-term strategy framework named Utkarsh 2.0 for the period of which was launched. So Utkarsh 2.0 has been launched, and you have to tell that this is for which period. Okay, so this is the first question that you have to answer. So here it is, see, what you have to remember is first it is Utkarsh 2.0, second it is the medium term strategy framework that has been launched by the RBI, and it is for the period of 2023-2025. So do not get confused, this was a very important notification and the report that has been released by the RBI. Okay, so this is Utkarsh 2.0. Here Utkarsh is the document that tells the strategy for the RBI to move forward. Okay, so here is a big question from Utkarsh, and in this question you will get the most from what we have studied about the Utkarsh 2.0. Okay, so I hope you remember the values, you remember the visions, you remember the core purpose, the missions. Okay, so here try to give the answer of this question, and if you are able to give the answer of this question, that means you are very thorough with the Utkarsh 2.0. Okay, so try to give the right answer of this question, and you have to tell the correct statement. Okay, so what is the answer of this question? The first statement says Utkarsh 2019 was the first medium-term strategy framework covering the period 2019-2022, was launched in July 2019. So is it true? Second statement is the implementation of Utkarsh 2022 was steered by a high-level strategy subcommittee of the bank's Central Board of Directors. So this is absolutely true. That is, the subcommittee of Central Board of Directors are the one that implements Utkarsh 2.0. So here the values of RBI specified in the medium-term framework are public interest first, second is integrity and independence, third is responsiveness and innovation, fourth is diversity and inclusiveness, and fifth is introspection and pursuit of excellence. So I'm getting the answer B and C, and that is absolutely correct. See, the first statement is wrong. It was Utkarsh 2022 that was the first medium-term strategy framework. So you have to remember the name. Okay, so it is Utkarsh 2.0, that is the second framework. The first framework was Utkarsh 2022. Yes, A is wrong, and that's why the right answer is B and C. So the first strategy framework was Utkarsh 2022 that covered the period 2019-2022 and was launched in July 2019. So that's why I brought this question, because it is quite confusing. So you have to be very clear about this. Okay, so here the high importance to its medium-term strategy framework is given by the RBI and monitors its implementation and progress through the subcommittee of the Central Board. Okay, Central Board. So now these are the 5 values that you have to remember, and here are the 5 core purpose. The main core purpose is this, and here are the 3 missions that you have to remember. Okay, so I hope you all remember. We have already discussed all the missions, we have discussed all the values and the core purposes in our session. So Utkarsh has the core purposes, the 5 core purposes, the 5 values, 3 missions and 6 visions that you have to remember. Okay, so just have the broad idea of that. Now coming to the third question, and this is the last question from Utkarsh. According to the recently released Utkarsh 2.0, which of the following visions has the highest number of strategies? That is, which of the following vision has the highest percentage, highest number of strategy, which is the vision that is given the most importance that you have to tell. So here all of these are the visions of the RBI, but you have to tell that which has most strategy. So it is excellence in the performance of its function. So this is the vision. So these are the vision, and the first vision is given 24 number of strategies, and it has 40% of the weightage in the strategy. So you can understand that how important this vision is. Okay, so yes, C was the right answer, and this is the criteria. This is the visions that you have to remember. These are the 6 visions, 6 very important visions. Okay, and the first vision is the one that has the highest number of strategies. Now coming to the next question, that is, now from here, this is the first question on FSR. We will do only 1 or 2 questions on FSR because I have taken a separate session on FSR. Okay, so we will give more focus on the other reports like the report on trend and progress, ombudsman and all. So here is the first question from FSR. Very important question because most of the news articles, they all covered this statement. Okay, and of course it is like a 10-year high, it is a decadal high. So here the answer is 17.4%. so as on December 16, 2022, the momentum and gather pace to touch a decadal high, like the credit growth has touched a decadal high, that was 17.4%, and Rishabh has given the right answer. That is absolutely correct, it is 17.4%. So here you can see that the credit growth was 17.4% as on December 16, 2022, and it was at the decadal high. And if you have to tell, if I say that which month has the highest credit growth in the 10 years, so it was September 2022, which was 17.5%. So if we talk about a month, so it is year-on-year month, so it is September 2022 that had the credit growth of 17.5%. So this also you have to remember. Now coming to the next question, that is, as per the recently released report on trend and progress of banking, what was the CRAR in March 2022? So remember, the FSR has given the data for September 2022, while most of the data in the FSR is for the September 2022. But the report on trend and progress, this has given the data for March 2022 because this was the report for the period April 2021 to March 2022, 31st March 2022. So you need to remember that the report on trend is the one that has given the data till March 2022 only, and this is very important data. Okay, so 16.8% is the right answer. All of you are giving the right answer. Sorry, Rishabh, Naved. So good to see. So this is the right answer. Here you can see that in the highlights that the RBI has given, these are the important data points. So here it is written that from the March 2021, the CRAR was 16.3%. So the banks are keeping higher, that is 16.8% at end March 2022, and yes, in September it came down to 16%. Okay, so now coming to the next question, here try to give the right answer of this question. So the first statement is saying that the credit to deposit ratio reached a 4-year high. So is it a true statement? That you have to tell. So it presents the performance of the banking sector. So report on trend and progress presents the performance of the banking sector, including cooperative banks and non-banking financial institutions for the year ended March 31st, 2022. Third statement is the return on equity and return on assets of scheduled commercial banks improved to levels last observed in 2016-2017, and the last statement is that the consolidated balance sheet is at double digit, and after a gap of 7 years this kind of double digit growth has been seen in the consolidated balance sheet, and this is due to the 10-year high credit growth. So which of the following statement is incorrect, that you have to tell. And here the C statement is incorrect because it is 2014-2015. So the return on equity and return on assets of the SCBs improved to a level that was last seen in 2014-2015. Okay. So here, no, first statement is correct. This is correct. That is the credit to deposit ratio reached a 4-year high. So this is absolutely correct statement. Here the wrong statement is C. So here you can see that the profitability of the commercial banks, the report said that their return on equity and return on assets improved to levels that is last observed in 2014-2015. Okay, and credit growth accelerated to a 10-year high at the end September 2022 if we compare the month by month. So it is 17.5% at the end of September 2022 as compared to September 2021. Okay. So I hope you have understood this. Credit deposit ratio, that is credit to deposit ratio, this was at a 4-year high because the credit growth is very high. It is very high. Okay. So now here comes the next question, that is regarding the contingent liabilities. So you have to tell that which of the following banks constitute about half of the banking system's total off-sheet exposure. The contingent liabilities are nearly half of the banking system's total of balance sheet exposure. So this you have to tell, and here the right answer will be foreign banks. The foreign banks are the banks that have the very high number of the contingent liabilities, and their contingent liabilities is about half. Okay, this constitute about half of the banking system's total of balance sheet exposure. So the contingent liabilities that the foreign banks have, that constitute about half of the banking systems, total banking systems total of balance sheet exposure. So you can understand that it is the foreign banks that keep the most contingent liabilities, we can say. Then there is the private sector banks, and the least contingent liabilities is kept by the public sector banks. I hope you remember that what is contingent liability, otherwise you can see it here. These are the liabilities that can happen, that cannot happen. Okay. So now coming to the next question, and remember, you have to remember this percentage, that the 23% growth has been seen in the contingent liabilities. That is a 11-year high. Okay, so this data point is very important. Next is the report on trend and progress of banking. The number of fraud cases reported by the private banks has outnumbered. So the number of frauds is more in the private sector banks, while the amount of the frauds is higher in the public sector banks. You have to tell the share of public sector banks in the amount involved in 2021-22 as compared with the amount that was previous year. So you have to tell that what amount was involved from the public sector banks in the frauds. So here the percentage you have to tell. So this was again very important. The news articles were showing this, and here the right answer is, I am getting B. No, the right answer is D. That is 66.7%. That like the amount that was involved, or amount of the frauds that was happening in the public sector banks was quite high. It was 66.7% in 2021-22 as compared with 59.4% in the previous year. So from the previous year also it has risen. The amount involved in the public sector banks, you can see it has increased, and from 59.4% it has increased to 66.7%. Okay, yes. So now this question you have to answer. The new bank branches after the gap of 2 years. For 2 years the new bank branches were declining, and now after the gap of 2 years, or after 2 years, there is the increase that has been seen in the new bank branches, and you have to tell that by what percentage we have seen the growth in the new bank branches. Okay, so here the right answer will be 4.6%. So this is the right answer that we have seen. This is the growth that we have seen in the new bank branches. Okay, so here the new bank branches opened by commercial banks increased by 4.6% during 2021-22. So I hope you would remember this data point. The most growth that has been seen in the new branches is in the tier 4, tier 5 and tier 6. Most growth means that from the previous year there is the increase in the growth that has been seen in the tier 4, tier 5, tier 6. The tier 1 has the most new bank branches, that is the growth is 47.7%. Okay. So next coming to the DSIPs, the domestic systemic important banks. Okay. So here you have to tell that which has the highest, which of the following criteria we can say, which of the following indicators we can say has the highest weightage under the systemic importance score. So DSIPs, like how the SBI or how the HDFC Bank or how the ICICI Bank are becoming the domestic systemic important banks. So it is because of these criteria that they are having. So which of the following has the highest weightage in the systemic importance score? So it is the size of the bank that matters the most according to the RBI. So the RBI has given 40% of the weightage in the systemic importance score to size. So it is the size, it is not A, it is B. Okay, so here the size has the most weightage, that is 40% of the weightage is given to the size of the banks, 20% weightage to interconnectedness, 20% weightage to substitutability, and 20% weightage to complexity. So this is how the systemic importance score is calculated. And first, the banks are categorized by 2%. If the banks have over 2% of the GDP, okay, if they have over the 2% of the GDP share, then these scores are seen. Then this is seen that the size and the interconnectedness and substitutability and the complexity is seen. Okay. So now coming to the additional common equity tier 1 that the banks have to keep. So the SBI is the one, HDFC Bank and the ICICI Bank is the one that have come into the category of the domestic systemically important bank. So you have to tell that how much additional common equity tier 1 requirement is for the HDFC Bank and the ICICI Bank. So common equity tier 1 is the most liquid kind of asset or the most liquid kind of capital that the banks are keeping with themselves. So here the right answer is, I am getting 0.2% by Sorish and Rishabh. So yes, absolutely correct. It is 0.2% of the risk weighted asset ratios, that is the common equity tier 1 requirement the HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank have to maintain. Okay, so here you can see ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank have to maintain the additional common equity tier 1 of the risk weighted assets by 0.20%, and the State Bank of India has to keep additional common equity tier 1 of 0.060%, and this common equity tier 1 is calculated against the risk weighted assets of the banks. Okay, so now the additional common equity tier 1 that you have to remember, as well as the banks with a size of over 2% of the GDP to be selected. First, if the banks have the size over 2% of the GDP, they will be selected, and from these banks, maybe here there are different 10-12 banks. So from here the domestic systemic important banks are chosen through the systemic importance score that is calculated through the 4 indicators. So this you have to remember. Okay. So now coming to the next question. The GNPA ratio of NBFCs eased from the peak of 7.2% recorded during the second wave of the pandemic to reach dash percentage in September 2022 as per the data provided in the FSR. So here you have to tell that which is the correct percentage. So this percentage was quite highlighted in the newspapers. Okay, and this is like after pandemic this data has came out. Okay, that the GNPA reached to a peak. So you have to remember this peak also, that the GNPA of the NBFCs reached to a peak of 7.2%, and after that it has came down to what percentage? So GNPA is gross non-performing assets, and I am getting the answer 5.9%. So here that is the correct answer. Okay, so the GNPA ratio of NBFCs eased from the peak of 7.2%, and it has been recorded during the second wave of the pandemic, and it has came down to 5.9% in recent times. So here you can see that the GNPA ratio has declined from the peak to now. Okay, so it has continuously declined and it has came down to 5.9%. So now coming to the next question. So this is quite a heavy question that I hope you will be able to answer, and this is the question from the annual report of Ombudsman scheme. So try to read each statement very carefully. Okay, so the first statement is saying that the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman scheme has been extended to include the non-scheduled urban cooperative banks with a deposit of 50 crores. So this is absolutely correct. Okay, so the non-scheduled urban cooperative banks has also been included in under the ambit of Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman scheme if they have the deposit size of 50 crore or above. Next is Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme 2021 was launched on November 12, 2021 by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, and this is also absolutely correct. So the third statement is under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, there is the CRPC, that is the Centralized Receipt and Processing Center has been launched in Chandigarh to receive the complaints, and the start of the processing starts from CRPC, and after the the complaints, the initial processing starts from the CRPC, and after that the maintainable ones are sent to the offices of Reserve Bank of India Ombudsman. So this is absolutely correct. See, all the complaints are going to the CRPC. After that, the CRPC is doing the initial scrutinization. After that, if they are maintainable, then they are sent to the offices of Reserve Bank of India Ombudsman. So fourth statement is contact center has been opened to assist the compliance in lodging their complaints in 8 regional languages. So this is wrong. It is 10 regional languages. Absolutely correct answer has been given by Rishabh, Sorish, and yes, 10 regional languages. See, the other 2 languages, Hindi and English, are also there, but if we talk about regional languages only, it is 10. Okay. So I hope you have got this, and here this was given in the notification of RBI. So the points that are given in the notification, those are the most important points, and we have covered all these points in the previous question. Okay. So I hope through the question only all these points will be very clear for you. So complaints, the most complaints that are coming under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme is through the CMS portal. So this is the portal that is in the RBI website. So this is the portal in the RBI website, and this is the Complaint Management System portal. Okay, through the portal you can raise your complaints, and this is the portal through which the most of the complaints are coming under the Ombudsman schemes. So now this is the next question that I hope you all will be able to answer. This is also a very important question, and here most of the points will be covered for you from the notification that we will see. Okay, so here the first question is regarding the volume of complaints that was received under the Ombudsman scheme. So the statement is saying that it has been increased by 9.39%. So absolutely, this is absolutely correct, that the volume of complaints has increased by 9.39% over the previous year. The second statement is complaints relating to digital modes of payment and transactions were the highest in number. So is it true? And that also constituting 40.12% of the total complaints received during the year. The third statement is the rate of disposal of complaints by the Reserve Bank of India Ombudsman improved to 97.97% in 2021-22 as compared to the 96.59% in the previous year. The next question is 63.63% of the maintainable complaints were resolved through mutual settlement, conciliation and mediation. So see, there are too much data that is given in this question, okay, and this all data is very important. Why this is important? Because again this has been directly given in the notification of RBI. Now RBI has given the 300 page of the report. From that the RBI himself is selecting the data and is giving in the notification as the highlight. So you can understand that how important that data points become. So here the answer is this. It is not 40.12%, it is 42.12%. Okay, so that's why this B statement was wrong, and these data points are very important because these are given under the notification of RBI as the highlights by the RBI. So the volume of complaints received under the Ombudsman scheme or the Consumer Education and Protection Cells during the year has increased by 9.39%. The complaints relating to the digital mode of the payment and transaction were the highest in number, and it has seen the growth of 42.12%. Not growth, but it constitutes 42.12% of the total complaints that are coming in the year. Okay. The rate of disposal of complaints by Reserve Bank of India Ombudsman has improved by 97.97%. It is very important because the whole report is talking about the complaints. So this is the complaints that has been resolved by the Reserve Bank of India Ombudsman. So it is a very proud thing for the RBI that the percentage has actually improved from the previous year. So majority, that is 66.63% of the maintainable complaints were resolved. So now coming to the next question, the insurance. Now this was again a point given in the report, but this kind of question can come as a separate question also. Okay, so the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, that is IRDAI, has prescribed a solvency ratio of dash percentage as the minimum threshold limit for all the insurers. That is, for all the insurance companies, this is the minimum threshold that they have to meet for the solvency ratio. Now, solvency ratio is what? It is the ratio, that is, what is the cash inflow that is happening and what is the liabilities that the insurance company has. So insurance company is doing the insurances. What if there is the car accident that happens and the insurance has to be provided? So those are the liabilities of the insurance companies. So the inflow must be 150 if the liabilities are 100. So here comes the percentage of 150%. So the IRDAI has said that the insurance companies, the insurers must maintain 150% of the solvency ratio, that is the cash inflow to liability ratio. Okay. So here the right answer is 150%. The solvency ratio of insurance companies exceeds the ability of the insurer to meet its obligation towards the policy holders. That's why the solvency ratio is calculated here. The cash inflow that is happening divided by the liabilities, that the obligations that the insurance company has. Okay. And here in the report, the FSR report, it was said that the insurance companies are maintaining the threshold, even above they are maintaining the cash inflows. So that is the good news for the insurance companies. Okay. As per the recent data, the GNPA ratio of scheduled commercial banks continued to decline and it came down to 5.0% in September 2022. You have to tell the 10-year low that has been seen in the net non-performing asset. So this was the data that has been given in the report, of course, but this was the data that has been given in the highlights of RBI also. So what is the net non-performing asset that has been seen? You have to tell this. Okay. So it is, Rishabh is saying 1.3%, Sorish is saying 1.3%. So is it the correct answer? So everyone agrees. So that, yes, that is the correct answer. So yes, it is a 10-year low that has been seen. The 7-year low has been seen in the GNPA ratio, and the GNPA ratio has come to 5%. Okay. So here you can see the GNPA ratio has come to 5.0% and the NNPA ratio has come to 1.3%. It is a 10-year low that has been seen. Again, the 10-year low is a very important thing also. So this is the highlights that has been given by the Reserve Bank of India for the FSR report, and here you can see the data points that has been given. So now again, the FSR has told us that the global economy is facing formidable headwinds. There is recessionary risk that is looming large. The interplay of multiple shocks are coming. The Indian economy is confronting the strong global headwinds. Yet we have very sound, very good macroeconomic fundamentals. Our stability is good. We are maintaining good capital buffers. We have good asset quality. We are maintaining good profitability. So the financial system is quite resilient. Okay. And we have the buoyant demand for bank credit. You can see that the credit growth is at a 10-year high in September 2022 and in the December 2022. Like 16 December 2022. So now coming to the next question, here the data has been given, the recent data has been given. You have to tell the minimum threshold. So this kind of question can also come, and many of the students get confused in this kind of questions. Okay. So the CRAR and the common equity tier 1 ratio of the scheduled commercial banks stood at 16% and 13% respectively. It is a data that was of the September 2022. Now you have to tell that what is the regulatory minimum capital requirement, that is the what is the minimum CRAR requirement or the capital adequacy requirement, and what is the minimum requirement for the common equity tier 1. So I am getting the answer 11.5% and 8%. So I hope that all of you know this answer, and this is the basic question that can come in the examination, okay, from the reports also. So here it is given that 11.5%. So now in this report, that is the report on trend in progress, this has been given, the minimum thresholds has been given. But the actual data, the September 2022 data is of the FSR, okay. So you can understand that the 2 or 3 reports can be mixed and then the question can be asked also. So here the 11.5% is the CRAR minimum that has to be maintained by the banks, and the common equity tier 1 minimum is 8%. Now here we are keeping the common consumption buffer, capital conservation buffer, and that's how this percentages we are deriving. So the CRAR is 9% plus the 2.5% of the capital conservation buffer, so it becomes 11.5% of the minimum threshold. Common equity tier 1 is 5.5% and 2.5% is the capital conservation buffer, so CET1 becomes 8%. But this is the percentage that has been given by the RBI directly without any differentiation. So this is what you have to remember. Okay. So now this is the next question. As per the macro stress test for the credit risk, the system level capital to risk weighted asset ratio, you have to tell the baseline percentage. So the macro stress test happened. The macro stress test happened, and these tests happen on 3 criteria: the baseline, the stress situation, the medium stress situation, and the severe stress situation. So here the percentages has been given that in the baseline situation, in the common situation, what is the CRAR that the scheduled commercial banks will be maintaining. In the medium stress situation, that if some stress comes, okay, this is the hypothetical situation, that if some stress comes, so what CRAR the banks will be maintaining. If severe stress is coming, again hypothetical situation, then how much CRAR we will be maintaining. So this is how the macro stress test happen, and this is for the future, okay, for the future one period. So in the September 2022, the macro stress test was calculated for September 2023, and this was the data that was given. And the data here, I'm getting the answer 14.9% from Anushka, Rishabh, Shubham, Naved. Okay, so all of them are giving the right answer, that is 14.9%, and this is a very important data point. Why? Again, it was given in the notification. You can see that only 2 data points the RBI has given. So these points are quite important, okay. So here you have to remember that as per the macro stress test on the 3 criteria, the baseline criteria, the medium and severe stress scenarios, in these scenarios, the banks will be keeping 14.9%. In the medium stress situation, the bank will be keeping 14%, and in the severe stress situation, the banks will be keeping 13.1%. So this shows that we will be having good capital buffers, we will be keeping good capital adequacy ratio even in the severe stress situation. Okay, so this is the baseline data, that is 14.9% we will be keeping in the basic situation, in the baseline situation that we will see in the future. So the adverse scenarios, the medium and the severe scenarios are actually the hypothetical situations. Okay, so now here is the question for today. The gross non-performing assets ratio of the scheduled commercial banks has been declining sequentially. So the GNPA ratio has been declining sequentially from 2017 to 2018. Like the peak was in 2017-2018. So this also you have to remember that the peak of the GNPA was in the 2017-2018 period. And you have to tell the data for end March 2022. So we know that the GNPA ratio was at a 7-year low. In which month? In which month it was a 7-year low? So it was in September 2022 when the GNPA was 5%. So you can get quite confused with this 5%. That was the data for the September 2022. But this data was given in the FSR, and this end March 2022 data is from the report on trend and progress. So here the right answer that many of the students are giving is correct, absolutely correct. It is 5.8%. Okay. So I hope now you understand that the reports has been released, the FSR data has been released for the September 2022 and the report on trend data has been released for the March 2022. Though in the report on trend, some points from the FSR has also been taken. So here you can see that from 17-18, after reaching the peak of the GNPA in the 2017-2018, there was the peak that has been seen in the gross non-performing assets. That means our asset quality was reducing by a lot, and after that there was continuous decline that has been seen in the GNPA, that is our asset quality is increasing. And in September 2022 there is the 7-year low that has been seen, that is the 5%. Okay, so this is the data point that you have to remember. For the March 2022 the percentage is 5.8%. Okay, so this is the last question and this is actually the homework question for you all. I hope that you remember that which of the following departments has given this annual report on ombudsman schemes? Okay, so this is a homework question, and you have to tell me in the comment section below that out of 20, because there are 20 questions, right? So after 20, how much marks have you gained? Okay, if you have gained above 15, that means you are very thorough with the reports. You just have to focus on the data points. If you have got above 10, that means go through the reports or go through the sessions one. Don't go through the reports, go through the notifications of the reports and go through the sessions once, and you will be able to get more grasp of the session, okay, of the reports. So I hope you have got good marks, and do tell me in the comment section below that how much marks you have got out of 20. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you have liked today's session. This was the session for, see, very important reports has been released that you need to understand, and this session covered those important reports and those important notifications that has been released, the press releases that has been released by the RBI, and from here the question is expected, okay, from these reports, because these are the important reports of RBI. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Telegram channel for the PDF of this session, and I hope you like this session. Do tell me in the comment section below that how much marks you have got out of 20. And if you have any query, you can mail us here or you can contact us through this number, okay? So if you have any other question, so you can tell me in the comment section below that if you have any other query, you can tell me in the comment section below. I will try to answer myself, okay? Thank you very much, everyone.